Hello, Sarah, Dr.
Hey,
Sara.
Laura.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to talk to you today about the incredible journey you've been on and I've been on in the space of expanding our consciousness. I'm so glad that we can be together to share this.
Yes, thank you, Allura. I'm when you asked me to share about this, I was at first I thought what could I possibly have to share with others that they might be interested in, but then reflecting on it, I realized I went back to when we first started together, and then I thought, oh gosh, I've been on such a big journey since then. And yeah, I think look, if it helps other people to maybe find the courage to take the journey, then I'm all for it.
Oh, you're an angel. And I think that's what it has shone out for me in working with you is that your sincerity in your evolution, like your desire to actually transform yourself because you're incredibly talented. You're an amazing doctor, an amazing mom, an amazing
Oh.
mind, an amazing, creator of your life, and so many other talents in between that I feel for others to understand that this works not just for people that are really like, feeling like there's nothing going on in their life. It's for people that are actually in this very high level of creation and expansion, wanting to go to that next level. But I suppose for us, it's where you were at when you were wanting to start this journey together. What position did you find yourself in that you found you were needing support?
Yeah. So I think for me, we had a couple of calls together, and I'd found that really helpful. But I think the real crux for me was getting to a point where I could sense that there was something inside me that I wanted to, there was more inside me that I wanted to give the world in a sense, but that there were so many fears that were stopping me, and know how to I didn't know how to address that. And it felt like it wasn't so much about talking through them or changing a frame of reference. When I had done the calls with you and we'd actually delved into the core wounds and the feeling of it, I realized that I actually needed to shift my resonance, or actually how I was, my programming that was there, even about fears of me, just being who I am. Because I think deep down everyone has an amazing, unique gift to give the world. Like it's not like I'm anything special or have special gifts. It's just that I've really want to tap in to that creative potential of what I want to do and what I feel like I want to align with. And doing the work with you has, for me, it's been life changing, because it's been about stepping into, I guess, the truth of who you are, and dissolving away those fears around that. And for me as well, I probably wasn't conscious of the programs I had running before, and you really helped me to become more conscious. And at times I wanted to give up and stop, because I thought, this is too hard. I could sense a frustration. And then as I went deeper into it, realizing that, oh, this is a program running in me. And what is it that I'm actually fearing about that? And that was, I think, and look, I keep telling people now, I think the best gift that you can give the world is your true authentic self. And unfortunately, a lot of us have all these programs and beliefs about what that actually is. Um, but being on this journey has helped me to realize, it also really helps you to make choices in your life about what to actually say yes and no to, so that the clearer you get on who you are and your own unique ray of consciousness and what it is that you're here to do, or just your being, who it is that you're being, your essence is, you're much clearer on what you can say no to, and you're much clearer on what you can say yes to, rather than feeling like you're being pulled in all different directions and you don't know where you're going. So I feel like that you've really helped me to get to that point where it is just a sense of calmness with who I am now. And I'm still, don't get me wrong, I am still evolving, and I still have programs that are running, and there are still things that are there, but it's so wonderful to do it, and not just with you, like doing the programs with the other ladies. And like, I've got some amazing women that I share this journey with, and they know who they are, and they're gorgeous souls. Sharing that with others as well on that journey is so beautiful. And but you do have to be vulnerable, and you do have to be ready to go through some painful processes, and that I think, when you're ready to do it, is life changing. But it's bringing that consciousness to the awareness, or bringing the awareness to the programs that are there, and bringing awareness to the pain, and maybe why you're trying to avoid that pain. I hope that makes sense. But in my head,
Oh, it does. It's been amazing, and there's so many pieces in there that I'm going to pull out just to flesh through. I really can feel, I really want to, I suppose, touch into that really potent space whereby you know you want to do it, and you know you want to change, but at the same time, you're really scared of the unknown. You're scared of what you're going to find. You're scared of what's suppressed, and you're scared of how you're going to manage this level of pain, because the pain that we work with is on a whole different scope to the everyday pain of living. It's a very conscious unwinding of where is the very, very core of the fracture of your pain, to be able to get comfortable with the space that you fear most, which is that pain. So I'm curious, Sarah, for you to maybe express to me that pain with the core wounds. How has actually expanding your being to be able to sit in that pain transformed your ability to deal with life in general, and your own emotional experience, and I suppose your understanding of pain?
yeah. I think for me, when I went through and did like the calls with you, and then did the retreats and things, and being able to understand that pain, I think for me, it was the avoidance of pain at first. So it was really that avoidance of, I didn't want to go in there. I didn't want to go down into that deeper area. Um, and but being able to do that now, and then realizing that, um, as you always say, the pain is real, but the story you tell about it is the illusion. And so not fearing the pain anymore is something that I've come to embrace. And so, like, even now, I have so much less certainty in my life than what I did a few years ago, but I embrace that all the time, because it's actually, I feel like I'm in that space of the unknown, and in that space is where the creative potential is, rather than, for example, when I hear people say, oh, I just want to secure this, and I want a secure job, and I just want to know that this is all going to work out the way I plan and want it. Whereas for me now, I look at that and I go, oh gosh, no, I love this space of the unknown, because I feel like in that moment, you're not living in the what if, what can happen, because even that security is an illusion in itself. It's such an illusion.
Mm.
But the biggest thing for me, I think, Laura, was wanting to get to a point where the truth inside of me, my own internal coherence, was a stronger reality than the external illusions, or the feedback that I was constantly wanting to get from life to validate who I was, because that changes and shifts so much. And, depending on who you're around, and other people's opinions and things. But more potently, when I started to realize that as my internal coherence changed and the internal reality changed, that reflected in the external reality. And that was the powerful part, where you actually start to go, oh, okay. So, and pulling your energy into yourself, and trying to be more coherent, and in alignment, rather than operating from programs, and then trying to sort of seek everything in the external to validate to who you think you are, which even that is an illusion in itself. So that I think that answers that question.
Yeah, that's amazing. No, I think it's really powerful because I think you're touching on the processes that we learn in the experience, which is that pain becomes the portal. So we use pain to be able to release the fear that we have, which is the liberating force. Then we use our consciousness to unfold those programs that are keeping you stuck in a confined, known reality, which is safe in our minds because we're used to it, but it's actually inherently unsafe in so many ways in being stuck in that. And then the process that is so powerful that we really sink into is that reclamation of the energy. So you can find your own energetic source as opposed to being pulled around by everything outside of you. And when that happens, then it's a whole different game that we're playing. Instead of being at the mercy of outside forces, we're in creation and control of the internal experience, which holographically creates around us. So I love that expression. I love it's just a gift to actually hear that, and this is something really important because I'm here as a guide to understand this way of being, but the anchoring that everyone that does this work and you in particular in this conversation is reflecting is that you begin to anchor in your own understanding of what is offered to you, and then it becomes your own way of living. And for me, as a guide in this space, this is a consciousness that is so powerful and so life-changing that the intention is for it not to be about me, but being about you and how your consciousness feels the truth of what is on offer here. And from that truth, you then get to see and test out these processes so you can then own them for yourself. So I'm wondering about that part for you, Sarah, how that's being different to maybe another modality whereby it's being about having to do something external or express something external or make something happen in a certain way that you've actually been able to own this process and make it work for you.
Yeah, that's such a good point, Lyra, because I have found in my experience doing other modalities, they tend to be more cognitive based modalities where you think about things, you know, like mantras where you'll say things and stuff like that, or you know, like say for example, you want to speak health into your life, right? And people say these things, but energetically they're not in that space, if that makes sense. And an interesting thing for me from being a doctor and understanding things at a cellular level, we now understand that the body holds memory in throughout your whole body as energetic memory, right? Through hydrogen bonds in water. We understand that now, right? So the whole idea then that basically energetically we store things, and that's what we kind of radiate out at a subconscious level, is where I feel that's where real healing needs to happen. And when you talk about trauma, like there was a great book written, I think it was called the body holds a score or something like that, but it was about that whole sense that the body holds the trauma. So we hold those core wounds and we hold the pain, and at a conscious level you can talk about it till the cows come home but until you actually feel it and process it and almost allow it to go through that processing where energetically it's like it becomes integrated into your whole being again, I feel like it's like your energetic light signature never actually changes. So what you say might be one thing, but then what you radiate out is another. And I've experienced that myself just in feeling different about certain things, or having like people can say, well, you need to do this and you need to say this and this is what you need to do, and cognitively, yep, okay, I get that, but that it wasn't until I actually shifted the energy and the emotions, and particularly I think what I found really helpful with you was often the emotion on the top that's there is just the superficial one, right? So if it's like a great example is, I know when I had a lot of anger, right, and anger came up, And you were like to me, well, that's covering another emotion. And we needed to dig down deeper into that. And sometimes anger covers fear, and then fear is covering a pain. And to get down to the depth of what that pain is where the real transformation happens. Because otherwise, you just kind of dealing with the anger just deals with the surface emotion. And it's like you never get to the real issue. And doing this with other ladies too, and or other people that have been doing similar journeys, it's amazing to see their aha moments where they go, oh my gosh, I can see what I'm doing in this relationship. I can see how I'm reflecting this to this person, or I can see how why I'm feeling this at the moment, or why I have this fear. And it
Yes.
it is a deep journey, like, but I guess it's the beauty of it is that once you can liberate and you can start to find the truth of who you actually are, then all of a sudden you start to live in a much more spontaneous way through life, where you go, oh, this is who I actually am. And no, I don't want to be like everyone else, and I want to be my own unique, soul expression here, rather than I need to fit in with what society says I need to do. And I think that's the gift that you're giving the world, Allura, is allowing people to really connect into their the truth or the beauty of their own symphony that they have to offer.
Oh, Sarah, I love that so much. It's so beautiful. And I actually sense that you're tuning in and expressing something that's so powerful. And I love so much that it's about a shift of consciousness. It's a shift, as you say, the energetic shift, the emotional shift. And then when you have these veils of the illusion part and you can see the truth of something, once you've seen the truth of who you are and how you're operating and what's going on around you, you can't unsee it. And you can only then move through the layers of consciousness to have real, deep, lasting change. And I think that consciousness shift is what gets people to that new level, as opposed to just the cognitive awareness that something's not great and I've got to think of it a different way. So we're working on the layers of consciousness. We're working on the layers of the energetic. We're working on the emotional, and then the thought forms, and then the behaviors, and that kind of comes last. So it's kind of top down instead of bottom up, which gets that shift. So I love that. Really, it's
Yeah.
really
Well,
special.
I think too, what really helped me, Allura, was understanding too, when we fracture a part of ourselves internally, or we separate ourselves, and then we're essentially trying to get that back in the external reality. And when I became aware that I was, for example, wanting people to approve of me all the time, because deep down I realized that I wasn't approving of myself. And once you now, cognitively, that's a different story, but energetically, to get to that point, we can go through the pain of realizing that you actually didn't approve of yourself, and the pain of that's where that shift happens. And then you realize that, oh, I actually do approve of myself. I don't need your approval because I approve of myself. And that's a powerful place to go. It doesn't mean that I don't have moments where I have moments of fear and things where stuff will still come up. But like I said, it's a journey, but I'm aware of it now. So when I start to go, oh, gosh, I'm why am I worried about what that person is saying or thinking? It's more than about what is that reflecting in me? What is that reflecting in my own consciousness? And but also, really, I found it gives you the ability to also really have compassion and empathy for other people as well, because
Yeah.
you can really start
Yeah.
to see that other people are hurting, and other people's trying to basically run that program, that loop in their mind, because you can sense that there's a deeper pain that's there. And so it's not saying that you need to tell them this is what they have to do or anything, but it's just having that level of understanding and compassion energetically, just to go, okay, I can see where this person is at, and you know
Mm.
what, I just love and accept them where they are, and they're on their own growth and their own journey of growth. So yeah,
I
I think
love that. Because I feel like that is really the reflection that when we understand the wounding on a deeper level, it's very all encompassing. We begin to have a completely different lens about what it means to be human, what it means to be in a relationship, what it means to be in evolution, because we've actually got a lens of understanding about why it is what it is, which is what the work offers. It's not just, a practice base or experiential base. It's an understanding or a consciousness or a way of perceiving reality that means that we get the keys to know how to then access it differently. Because when I was working with my own pain and my own fear, there was this very strong sense that I didn't have the next piece to be able to actually break me through those loops. And it was only when I began to understand our relationship with reality and the design of reality that I began to really know that actually there was a pathway to a new level of expression here. So the core wounding is really like code word for the reality architecture and our architecture of our human experience. And then when you become confident in understanding how that's all fit together, you can use the processes and the ways of designing reality from the inside out that will serve you forever. So it's not just you're going to do work on yourself, you're actually going to shift your understanding of reality and then be able to use that for the rest of your life. So that's where I'm really hoping that as a species, this work has the potential to lift us into a space where we're very sovereign, we're very free, we're very liberated, we're not at the mercy of pain and fear, we're not persisting in wound bonds, we're not stuck in loops, we're not in illusions and programs, we're in a really clear, free state to be creating. So I love that expression and that reflection. It's really, really powerful. Thank you, Sarah.
no,
That's so good.
that's so, yeah, I love the way you the reality construct and the arc, like how we construct the reality in those wounds, I think is so powerful, because and most of the time it's very unconscious. It was for me, until I was able to dismantle those energetically, which and again, it's really, because one of the things I love when we do work together is when you talk about where do you feel it in your body, where in your body are you feeling such and such, because the body does store all these energies. It's like you're tuning in to that part and allowing it to almost talk to you. And I know a lot of people, like I'm a very intellectual person. So, and I know, if you remember, Allura, it was very difficult for me to really get into that initially, because I was like, well, this
Mm.
doesn't make sense. And I need to be able to, I need to be able to explain all this and blah, blah, blah. But then once you actually go into that place and you can actually experience it, it's like you coordinate your head and your heart, if that makes sense. So then all of a sudden there's this like, um, there's this, freeway between the two of them that you can then start to see, is this really in alignment with me and who I am, and even just about boundaries, internal boundaries, and knowing what's yours, and knowing where you're trying to, or where you're, why people get so upset when they've let someone step over their boundary, and they often don't realize that's what's happened. But internally there's chaos, because they think, oh my, like, and so they try to fix it on the outside, going, well, oh my gosh, I need them to approve of me, and I need to fix this situation, because I feel internally there's chaos, but not realizing that it's because
Mm.
you've let an internal boundary be stepped on. So but the beautiful thing about that
Yeah.
now is that the more conscious you are, um like, I'm aware now if I've just let someone step over my boundary, because instantly my body will go, oh, this doesn't feel good. And so you go, okay, something I've just, but you can pick it up straight away
Powerful.
and go, okay, I know what I just did. And that's
Yeah,
such I think
that's
that's
big.
the empowering step, is where you actually can start to go, oh, I know why I'm feeling that now, rather than I'm just feeling anxious, or I'm just feeling this way, or I'm feeling frustrated and I don't know why. It it empowers you to start. It's almost like having this internal communication with your body and your feelings.
Yes.
What are you actually trying to tell me? And what is it that I'm not listening to? And so rather than listening to everything external to you, telling you what you're feeling, why you're feeling it, what the news says, what friends say, what your family says, it's like, what are you actually saying? What is your soul
Mm.
trying to tell you? And that's the powerful part, is when you can actually start to really communicate, I think. And I just think it would be so beautiful if there was people around everywhere that were just in contact with their own soul and trusted their soul and their own intuition and their guidance more than what everything in the external reality is telling them. I think everyone has a gift to give a little.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own gift.
Oh, that's exactly it, right. We're all here to be in that co-creation of those gifts. And I love the inner boundary work. That's some of the most powerful, profound work we do, because we begin to realize that it's completely our responsibility to set boundaries. And it's a little bit against the kind of the rhetoric around, you set a boundary and you put a line in the sand and you make sure no one crosses it. This is about you honoring that you're not going to abandon and betray yourself, because you're very clear. And to get to that point, we really need to unwind what it is that makes you, I suppose, malleable and less aware of being able to keep that boundary. And it's often because of your wounding that you want to seek that love, validation, attention, affection, being seen, being understood, that you want to get rid of that boundary so that you can get that externally. But when you realize that that's just going to be a false energy that you actually will never feel satisfied with, and you'll always feel a sense of having let yourself down, or that you've been walked on or used or misused, then you can begin to really anchor that in. So I love that. That's been really powerful for you to feel and experience and resonate with as well. That's really such a beautiful gift.
Oh, look, and you know what, Allura?
Yeah, so Sarah, I just wanted, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just going to quickly touch on
Yeah,
that.
go.
The betrayal of self, I think, is one of the biggest pains that I experienced, was trying to be something that I wasn't, to get the external validation. Once but I had to experience that pain of the betrayal, because we often think someone else has betrayed us, or we get angry because someone else has done something to us, yet we often forget that we betray ourselves every day, all the time, by choosing
Yeah.
other people's values, other people's decisions, other people's wants and needs, over understanding the truth of our own and our own unique, you know um spiritual journey here, our soul journey
The
here,
betrayal of
and yeah,
self.
and honoring that.
It's a big deal, because you have to be able to be brave enough to deal with the pain of all the betrayal that's happened to be able to get to that point. So that's a journey. And I love that, because it's just the liberation in moving through the pain of our own betrayal means we're not available for being betrayed in any way that's not in our programming. We're in complete sovereignty within ourselves and self-sufficiency. So we can connect with others, but it doesn't have to be at our own expense anymore. And I think that's just so empowering and so liberating. Sarah, just finally, if you could kind of offer to anyone listening why it's maybe going to be in their interest to move forward to make this exploration, what would you kind of offer them in that space?
um I think that for me, I often think now, I the way I think about it is that there's music inside everyone. There's a song inside everyone, right? That needs to be played, that needs to be shared with the world. And I feel like so often we're playing other people's songs all the time and forgetting our own beauty that's there to be played. And so for me, I got to a point where what I had inside of me and what I wanted to share and how I wanted to do it with the world got so strong that I got to the point, and I think I remember telling this to you, I'm like, I have to do this. Like, I have to share what I have to, because if I don't, I feel like part of me is just going to die and wither away. And I didn't want to get to my deathbed and have regrets. I would rather, um, I mean, but the thing is, and then I realized I was scared of failing, but then I realized, what was that fear about? And you can't fail if you're just living in your truth, and if you're creating from that truth space. In the external world, you might think you're failing, or you might get signals saying, oh well, that didn't work, or this didn't work. But that's not failure. It's just simply a feedback going, all right, maybe this wasn't the right timing, maybe this wasn't the right way to do this, let's just try something different. But so, and like for me in particular, moving forward with my passion and what I'm wanting to do, I don't think I would be here doing what I'm doing now if I hadn't done the work with you. Like, I honestly feel I'd probably be still stuck in a bit of a program, but doing your work, your journey, and having you alongside there has really helped me to step into that. I'm not going to say power, because I feel like, as you say, we are already powerful as it is. Stepping into that authenticity and not being afraid to step into that authenticity, and not being afraid of what that means, because it will mean that your external reality will change. And this is, I think, what people fear the most, is because chaos often does ensue when your internal reality becomes a bit more chaotic, and you're shifting things. But I now embrace that all the time, because I think that's where your greatest growth is going to be, and that's where you're going to step into the truth of who you are, and you'll just keep creating from that space. So I would say to anyone, like, if anyone's listening to this and you're kind of thinking, oh, I don't know, like, it's and look, and to be honest, it is a time investment, but it's your life. You are the biggest asset you will ever have. You are your best asset you will ever have. Your soul, your consciousness, your level of consciousness is the best asset you will ever have. So investing into doing this, investing into yourself, not only will it change you and your immediate surroundings, but it will have a ripple effect on your kids, on your friends, on your family. And I already noticed now with friends, I start to like counsel friends in the same sort of thing, and I'll say, okay, what is it you're fearing in this situation? So that kind of ripples out, and so you are also then helping other people as well. But I would honestly just say it is like, be ready to face some difficult things, but that's life, that's nature, that's what happens in life, is that the best most beautiful things happen when you do have chaos. I mean, that's always what happens. So that's what I would say to people is, if you're sort of in that space where you are feeling, you don't really know where you're going, or you just have this underlying sense that you're feeling frustrated with things or with life, or you're in a job that you don't like, or whatever it is, it's absolutely worth it to really just find out and tune into who you really are, because don't leave it until like your deathbed. Do you know what I mean? Until, I just feel like now is like, there's no better time than now than to tune in to the majesty of who you are, right? The brilliance of who you are and what you have to offer the world. And it's not that anyone is more special than anyone else. It's just like this beautiful creativity that every single person has that they have to offer. So like, I know now when I speak to someone that really does feel aligned with what they do, it's so beautiful to see them shine, because you're like, oh my goodness, you are just this beautiful ray of consciousness that's here. And you have helped me on this journey, and I know you've helped so many other women as well, and men, not just women, helping to find sort of the inner light. So I love the theme of this talk that we're doing today, like finding your inner light. I think that's so pertinent because we do have this inner energy and this inner consciousness, and this inner light, that's just waiting to shine. And I feel like you are there to help people tune into that and like share it with the world.